Welcome to the SciMap video help video 5. This is concerning creating boards part 2. In video number 4 we looked at setting up the board. Here we are in the board where we now need to break the board down into its constituent parts and set it up to reflect our design. So first of all, earlier on we set up the general information. Should I want to review the general information, I have two choices. I can generally click on the board reference to bring back the final board general details, or I can use the edit menu and select general, which will bring up the board details. So you have two choices. The first thing we need to do here is start looking at the phasing arrangements on our board, and this is where we have the edit menu, where we can perform all sorts of functions at board level. So first of all, I want to change the phase, and I want to break ways number 1 through 6 down into their constituent L1, L2, L3. To do this, simply select the change phase option, select way number 1 and set that up as single phase. The command is active all the time. If you look in the bottom left hand corner, the command is active. We are still in change phase mode, so I continue on way number 2, 3, 4 and so on and so forth until I've completed my task. To complete the task, merely press escape and you can see then the command changes. At this point, I will now decide to set up a final circuit. To do this, you double click on the way reference, putting your description in. So for example, the first example I'm going to show you is a lighting circuit. So we can put our room name in here. Don't waste text putting in the description of the circuit, i.e. lighting, because it will automatically apply a moniker prefix, LT, to represent lighting. So you'd be wasting text typing Office 1 lighting. That will automatically be done. You can see at the bottom here, there's the nomenclature that it uses, so LT for lights. So these are the types of circuit that we have available to us going into lighting. The way information you can see here is broken down into 3 sections. Load details, where you load the cable up with the load from the lighting in this case. The cable details in terms of the length, the cable type, and further details such as how you're controlling your CPC. Notice how this dialog box is exactly the same as the sub-main cable entry. And also we have the protection, the CPD, where we can select our device type. There's the range, in this case from 2 to 63 amps, rated at 15 kA. And we've got the details, where if we have RCBOs or RCDs, we can set up the generic RCD information. Manufacturer's information can be entered, or none. And this is where we can actually fix the device itself as well. So we're currently using a C60H Type B on this distribution board. So if we start looking at the load, we go into details. We have a basic point entry dialog box that we can enter in here. So for example, if I was going to put some fluorescent luminaires in, I can apply fluorescent luminaire. If I wanted to remove the lamp holder, I can select it from the list here and select delete. So you can remove any entries that you make here inadvertently or as the project changes. There is a base database of fluorescent light fittings depending on the selection we've made on the right hand side here. So if I had an office with a typical quad fitting 600 square with 18 watt lamps, you can see here we've got the 18 watt lamp, that tots that up to a total of 72 amps. Now if we know we've got control gear in the light fitting, we might not want to reflect that by the current rating. We then add up the number of lights in the space, and that gives us our total of 3.8 amps, 0.9 power factor. We could apply diversity, so if for example in this office you are applying some sort of daylight control, you could apply Part L daylighting control and say 75% diversity. The way diversity works in SciMap is that the diversity is always applied as a contribution to the distribution board. It will always size the final circuit on full load. So in this case, only 75% of the lighting load will be applied to the board. The final circuit will be sized to take the full, in this case, 3.8 amps. This can be entered as a VA in a power factor, or as I say, in watts. If this room is actually a bathroom or a shower or something that requires an RCD, by ticking this box it will automatically invoke the RCD selection and an RCD will be applied to this circuit. That's the load details. We then put the length of the circuit in, along with our appropriate installation method, and the device protecting that circuit. We are now in a position to run the results, and this will give us our results for this particular type of cable. Exiting the way, if I wish to re-enter the way, I can double click on it. And there we can see our initial lighting circuit. Notice it's applying 2.8 amps. That is the diversified load, i.e. 75%, with the appropriate power factor on L1 brown. We can see here the standard CPD is a C60H type B. If I decide I want a different device on this particular way, double clicking on the way, I can then go and select another device, select OK. Notice the presence of the N suffix on the way reference. This means we now have a 4 amp non-standard breaker for this board. The standard breaker is the C60 type B, so this allows you to view at board level which ways have non-standard breakers. To change back, all I need to do is close down this dialog box, double click on the way reference and change that back to the original type B device. That will then remove the N. If I choose to apply an RCD to this circuit, so let's say for example that it was actually in a wet room, I could either go into the details or I can go into the details of the device and decide that I want to set my RCD, in this case specifically to 30 milliamps. There you can see the fact that the device has been selected and you get the reference R, so that you can look at the board and you know you have an RCD allocated to that circuit.